It's good to be back on the Wyrd Ways channel after a long break. I was slightly under the weather. I'm not getting any younger. And when I catch a cold and fever, it isn't easy to shake them off. Anyway, I'm back for better or worse. And I would like to talk about something that's been on my mind for quite a while. It's about creating your own reality. Now, is that possible? Does it sound like a motivational poster line, something you'd see framed in a corporate office next to the picture of a sunrise, maybe? It's not a slogan, let me tell you that. It's not a slogan, it's literal. This idea didn't begin with Instagram spirituality. It runs deep through mystical traditions. And in the 20th century, it was articulated in a very striking way by Carlos Castaneda through his accounts of learning from the Yaqui sorcerer Don Juan Matus, especially in a book called A Separate Reality. Now, whether you take Castaneda as anthropology, allegory, or outright fiction doesn't matter for this conversation. What matters is the teaching. Don Juan tells Castaneda something very radical. What you call reality is merely a description, a consensus, a fixation. We are taught from childhood how to see the world, not just what to see, but how to interpret what we see. The training becomes so seamless, so automatic that we mistake it for truth itself. But it's not truth, it's agreement. And here's where it gets interesting. Don Juan speaks of stopping the world, not physically stopping it, obviously, but interrupting the internal dialogue that keeps reinforcing the same version of reality. Now, according to him, the world we experience is continuously constructed by our thoughts, beliefs, and inner commentary. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Now, modern neuroscience now says something similar. The brain does not passively record reality. It predicts and constructs it. Beliefs are not decorations in the mind. They are architects. Each belief is a lens. If you believe the world is hostile, you will notice threat. If you believe people are selfish, you will find proof everywhere you look. If you believe life is sacred and meaningful, suddenly the mundane glows with significance. It's the same world, but different reality. And Don Juan, he pushes it further. He suggests consciousness is not locked inside the skull. It is not a byproduct of the brain. Instead, awareness is something vast, something we participate in. The individual is a point of perception within a much larger field. In other words, consciousness is fundamental. You're not a body that somehow produces awareness. Your awareness temporarily perceiving through a body. Now pause for that. If consciousness is intrinsic to the universe, not trapped inside matter, then reality, it becomes multidimensional. And what we call the ordinary world is just one band of perception. Now, Don Juan would say we are fixed at a certain position of perception, and that position determines the world we see. Now, all you need to do is shift the position, shift the world. This is not about fantasy or denial. It's not about pretending that bills don't exist or that pain you feel isn't real. It's about understanding that your experience of everything is filtered through belief and attention. And attention is power. Where attention goes, every sensation becomes amplified. The heart beats a little stronger, and suddenly it's a crisis. But on a day when you're strong, grounded, and present, the same heartbeat doesn't even call attention to itself. It's the same body, different reality. Now, belief shifted, attention shifted. Now, Don Juan's teaching ultimately isn't escapism, it's responsibility. If your inner dialogue is constantly narrating limitation, fear, victimhood, then that narration solidifies into the world you inhabit. But if you interrupt it, if you loosen the grip of inherited beliefs, if you question the assumptions you carried for decades, then something remarkable happens. The world softens, possibilities expand, the ordinary becomes luminous, even the mundane becomes symbolic, as if life itself is speaking in layered meanings. And this is where the weird ways come in, because the modern world tells us reality is flat, mechanical, purely material. But the mystic says, no, reality is participatory. It responds, it unfolds differently depending on the seer. You're not just living in the world, you're co-creating it. And maybe the deepest question is not, what is reality? But here is where it becomes serious, not mystical, not poetic, but serious. Every moment you are aligning with something, a thought, a reaction, a posture towards life. And repeated often enough, this alignment hardens into identity. If you continuously lean towards resentment, fear, cynicism, or bitterness, you begin to inhabit a world that reflects those qualities back to you. It isn't punishment, it's resonance. What you rehearse inwardly becomes the atmosphere you live in outwardly. And when your choices constantly go against the deeper grain of your own being, against conscience, against compassion, against truth, you create a psychological architecture that feels like a prison, not because reality trapped you, but because you helped build those walls. That is why the question is not just, can you create your reality, but what are you aligning yourself with moment to moment? Choose carelessly and the world narrows down. Choose consciously and it opens for you. That's a huge responsibility. Create your own reality. It's simple if you put your mind to it. Now, in the next episode, we'll explore something Don Juan called stopping the world, and why your inner dialogue may be the glue holding your reality in place. Thank you. Till next time.